Hello.
Hello.
Can you start with your name and where you're from?
Yes, I am Floriana Iovino from Italy.
When did you start to play the piano and why?
I was about 4.5. And why? I just saw, those big bands that performs in the street. And I guess as a little child, I was fascinated by the atmosphere and the sound. And so I think I remember the moment where I just asked for my first piano lesson. I don't know why specifically piano, but there was no pianist inside.
Ah.
And I said, can I please have a piano lesson? And so I was lucky that my parents decided to give it a go, and then it went on.
And was there a specific event after you decided to become a pianist?
No, I wouldn't say. I would just look for a school and a teacher, and I don't think anything peculiar happened, no.
So it kind of happened like organically.
Yeah, I started taking lessons and I started practicing, and the whole story unfolded quite organically. Yeah, no big events, I'd say.
If you could play only one composer for the rest of your life, who would it be?
I think the answer will always be Schumann, because I've always loved him, and I haven't much in the repertoire, actually, consider how much love I have for this composer. But this will be fixed soon. But I always feel something special. I can always say even if I maybe don't know the piece, well, now I'm a bit older, so I know more repertoire. But even when I was younger, I would immediately spot that's Schumann, even before building a proper knowledge of all the repertoire. I don't know, it's just so direct. It goes straight to the point and just hits your heart. And I think it would be Schumann forever. And I would miss terribly probably Beethoven as well. If you asked me to pick gun to my head, I would say Schumann.
If you could choose one score that you take on a lonely island, what will it be?
One score.
When I say it can be a whole book.
It can be the whole book.
It can be a book, yeah.
Oh. Goodness, that's a tough question. So many things. Probably Mozart sonatas. I would bring. Can I bring all the books or just?
Fine.
Thank you.
Is there a piece that you never want to play again?
So, I think Chopin's second ballade, and I don't think I want to play it again for some reason. I think it scares me.
Right.
Also, when I played it, perhaps I was a teenager when I was probably not my most serene, peace of mind sort of state, and I kind of associate this piece now with that phase in my life. So, but it's merely my personal reason, nothing to do with the music.
Do you ever thought about quitting the piano?
Not quitting, even though obviously, especially when I was younger, I had to deal with a lot of imposter syndrome. And so I thought perhaps I should quit, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. So it was mostly related to my self-esteem. I wanted to take a long break, which I did. To be honest, and it benefited me. Yeah, I think going back, I would do the same. But no, never quit. I would never. I always asked them, I said, what else would I do at a job? I never spent so much energy in anything else. So I think it has to be piano or nothing. Or gardening, I don't know.
That would actually be my next question. What profession would you choose if not piano?
In a world where music doesn't exist, because if not piano, I would probably do something else. In a world where this doesn't exist, I think still something artistic. I would probably like to spend time learning how to paint very well. So I always found that very fascinating. And also working with Crete, that also kind of like touching the material that then you use to create something is very fascinating for me.
Do you have a specific ritual that you do before performing?
Yes, I actually do. I have to take nice and hot shower. I always do that. It just helps me relax a lot. And as I'm under the water, I just visualize what's going to happen, and I try to tell me nice words, how well I'm going to play, how specifically what I'm going to do very, very well. And I find that through the years, this helped me a lot, actually. So I want to keep doing that when it's possible. It's not always possible, but when I have the chance to, it really helps setting the mood.
What do you love to do the most besides playing the piano?
Well, I say recently I started learning, I am self-taught, how to use watercolors. That is another activity that I like a lot. I like reading a lot. I don't have always the time, but I like reading, not necessarily novels, but for example, I started this book around the history of India that is called The Golden Road. It's really fascinating. I like learning a lot about other cultures. That really, really fascinates me. So yeah, probably these two things.
Is there something funny that happened to you during your career as a musician?
So one thing that comes to mind, it regards my teaching, the teaching aspect of my life, because I am basically full-time piano teacher back at home. I received a request from a potential new client regarding lessons at home for their kids. And so we decided on a date and time and agreed for a price. And then they asked me, oh, obviously you're going to bring your piano, right? Nope.
So the lesson happened?
The lesson did not happen.
That's a very, very good one. Is there a piece that you always wanted to play but somehow didn't until now?
Yes, actually, I always wanted to play Schubert Wanderer, but it represents such a challenge for me physically. I feel like I physically cannot play. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've always been scared. So I actually heard it in one of the master classes in this course. So back home, I think I'm going to give it another shot. What scares me is it's a long piece, and you really have to show a lot of physical strength, I think, and communicate physical strength, not necessarily show it. So what scares me if I can sustain it for a long time and get to the last movement with a correct amount of energy. So I see, it's going to be interesting.
So you worked a little bit already on it?
I started reading the first movement only.
Okay. Do you get stage fright?
Yes, I do. Well, what can I say? How do I deal with it? I make sure that I'm very, very, very well prepared, because obviously that there's no other way really. If you're very well prepared, then you can soothe yourself with that thought. Also, I think that you have to let destiny unfold. You have to, once you know that you've done your part, you just accept whatever is gonna be for you. Something that makes me feel better is that you can always do better next time. Even in a worst case scenario, nobody's gonna die, literally.
How do you balance your social life with your professional life?
Social life? So, no, I'm joking. Well, it's tough, especially now being an adult. I find it tough for everyone my age. So, to be honest, I'm in my 30s, so it's a bit of it's not necessarily related to the career path that I've chosen for myself. I think it's a common problem, and I think the pandemic also really didn't help. I think everyone kind of lost their social abilities. Having said that, obviously it helps if you have other musicians as friends, so they can understand why you isolate yourself for long periods of times. I find other people maybe sometimes can't really relate, and that's a bit tough to explain to them. Why are we not meeting anymore? But yeah, I think that we have wonderful means to stay in touch. WhatsApp, Messenger, the social media. So at least you can communicate through that. When I was younger and I was in university before WhatsApp, for example, it wasn't it wasn't really possible. I only have to go out with other musicians that were studying with me. Otherwise, nobody would understand. So yeah, it's tough.
Which moments bring you the most joy in the life of a musician?
After the performance, if I played well. If I feel I played well, then I feel very, very nice about it. But another thing is listening to other people. When I'm surrounded with other musicians, it's a bit of a gamble. It could be a toxic environment, but if it's not, then I think there is no more wonderful feeling, because it's just sharing the joy of being a musician, and what can you ask for more?
Sounds great. So, one last question. Why did you join the festival?
I wanted to challenge myself. It happened after a long period of inactivity, perform-wise. So I wanted to see if I still had it, you know. And yes, I felt like I was long overdue for some good stress. So I just, at first it started like that, like, okay, let's see if I still got it, and let's see how well I can do, let's see if I can bounce back. And then I realized I really needed this level of connection with other people my age and younger, because there are some really young people here that are amazing. And also older, because the teachers are so inspirational. So I realized that ultimately I really needed that connection, and I needed to feel again the inspiration of seeing the other people performing, and then see that I really wanted to go back and do my share of the job as well. So I actually can't wait to be back home and just go back to practicing new pieces.
Thank you, Floriana.
Thank you, Nils.